Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 25th RNCI Red Nation International Film Festival. You are experiencing right now our Indigenous Filmmakers Lounge, the Conversation series. And before I introduce the film and our guests, our filmmaker guests, I'm going to let you in on what's happening here at the festival thus far. It's day 23 out of 30. We have 105 films to view on rednationff.com. We have 35 films directed by women, 73 documentaries, 12 student films, 10 experimental films. We have 16 events, so several of them have already happened, but there's still some for the last week of the festival. So visit the website, rednationff.com, and check in and see what's left. We have our award ceremony coming up November 29th. So get your ticket because it's a VIP ticket, and you're going to be, everyone that gets a ticket is going to be put in this special room, where an exclusive room where you'll be able to experience all the presenters and nominees and other filmmakers and winners and hosts, and it's just going to be a fun experience. So I'd suggest you get a ticket, and the proceeds go to our year-round programming. So it just gets recycled back into producing events that you can all experience. November 30th is our signature event that we launched 25 years ago during Indian Market, and it's our Red Nation concert series. It's our fundraiser. We've never had a fundraiser for Red Nation, and this is our first one. So it's going to be fun. It's artists in solidarity in creating systemic change through music, art, and media. So that's going to be fun. We have Joe Walsh and Jennifer Warrens and Joanne Shenandoah and Hook Herrera and Corey Morin and Ronnie Blakely, and there's a whole roster of incredible musicians. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a music party. It's a fundraiser, and music has the power to bring us all together, and so does film. So I'd suggest you go to Red Nation FF and watch all the films. And this is a holiday week, so binge from the Native perspective. Okay, now I'm going to introduce to you, this director is a dear friend, and she's been part of the festival for many, many years. So she's an alumni. She's very dear to my heart. And I'd like to introduce director Neta Rhyne and her guest. Oh gosh. I want to say Gareth because I'm thinking of the band, right? But Mr. Laffely, how's that? How's that? And the film that we're going to be talking about is Shattering Sacred Ground. This is a really important film, and we were talking pre-show about, you know, the films that have been entered this year have all been about well, first of all, Red Nation is home to the Native documentary voice. So the 73 documentaries are all different, but a lot of them are speaking to the issue of our land, our original mother, our Mother Earth, who provides for us, you know, everything. And, you know, she's going to be around and has been around before us forever. So it's up to us to take the initiative from her calling, her earthquakes, her thunderstorms, her tornadoes, all of those things. That's her calling out to us to wake up and get it together. So, Neta, will you? Hi, everybody, help me welcome our filmmakers. Hi.
Hi, it's so good to see you. I'm so proud to be here today, and thank you for this opportunity. It's just beautiful what you have put together, and I'm very appreciative and honored to be a part of it.
Well, I'm really happy to see you. We usually see each other at Indian Market every August, and we collaborate and we get ideas and we go eat fry bread and we go to our favorite restaurant on the plaza. And
It's always so fun. I'm having withdrawal, Santa Fe withdrawal this year.
I know. Well, next year I have my whole new team that we're bringing that
Great.
helped co-produce the festival this year. So next year it's going to be, fingers crossed, that we all get to prayers in, prayers up. That we
Prayers
get
up,
person.
and 2021 is going to be a good year.
Yeah.
We just have to think positive and keep going, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Neta, I know personally because I know you, but for our audience out there that's tuning in, I'd like to hear from your words. I could read from a piece of paper, but I really would love to hear from your heart, why you made this movie and what this movie is about.
We moved here in 1984 from East Texas, actually. We moved to Balmorhea State Park, which is where San Solomon Springs emerged in the park, and it is now a walled-in swimming pool. The Conservation Corps came in and walled in this natural spring, and it's now a swimming pool, but it's spring-fed. And I was just amazed, the energy, and she's alive. She's a beautiful, peaceful spirit, and she has nourished this land, this desert, for a documented 11,000 years. There's 3 springs: San Solomon, Giffen, and Phantom, and they all join together, and it's just amazing. This is a Chihuahuan desert, so you have this oasis here in the middle of this desert, and it's beautiful. Well, in 1992, I went through lung cancer. I was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, and given 2 months to live. Well, in between breaks of treatment, I would come home to this spring, to this land. We lived in the state park and recoup. My body would heal, basically. I took treatment for 7 months. They gave me very aggressive treatments because they said I only had 2 months to live. So I really realized then just how special this place is. Well, in 2016, Apache Corporation announced their Alpine High play, which encompassed 360,000 acres of mineral rights to land here. And the springs, our ranch, were all in that area. I knew this was going to be a horrible invasion of the area, but I really did not have an idea. I could not grasp the enormity of the destruction that would come along with this invasion. And they started fracking pretty soon after they announced this Alpine High play. And my 3-year-old grandson at the time and I were sitting outside, and there was a fracking rig at the lake, which is only about 3 miles from here. And I could hear it. I could hear that drill bit fracturing the ground, and we could feel it. We could feel the vibration under us. And I sit there and watched my grandson playing in the dirt, which was a favorite little boy thing to do. And I thought, this ground is sacred, and they're shattering it. The vibration, I could just imagine it's just fracturing the whole earth beneath us. So that's where shattering sacred ground was. That's when it began. And it's not, the film is not just about making a film. It's my life. Every day, we live it, we see it, we hear it, we feel it, we smell it. We're having earthquakes every day. We had a 5.0 earthquake not too long ago, and it actually damaged our home. And this earthquake, the epicenter was 40 miles from here. but it's in an area where there's a lot of fracking and disposal wells. So it's an ongoing battle. We're still battling. I have protest hearings that I go to attend at the Railroad Commission in Austin, protesting these toxic fracking wastewater disposal wells that they put in. And they're just destroying everything that is, you know, it's just very, very sad.
So the film, the actual film. So what was the, I mean, making the film, right? Lisa, what was the process for you? I know you were inspired by your grandson, which is really precious, but like, what was the process for you in the documentation, right? Because, and how long did you document this?
It started in 2016, and shortly thereafter, we even opened up a camp, a protest camp here on our ranch, and invited people. We had a lot of people come down from Standing Rock and to help us try to figure out what we could do to minimize the effects it was going to have on the land and what we were going to have to do to protect the water. And I needed help with that. So
Yeah.
we opened up a camp. We had a lot of people come in. And I thought this is an important story to tell because we were on the front lines. They were knocking on our door, but they had not crossed the threshold yet when we first started this. So I thought this is an important story to tell to prepare people for what they can do in the event this happens in their neighborhood, their area. And so I thought, well, it would be important to document everything, which I did and continue to do so. But it's very overwhelming because it's still ongoing and it's huge. And I thought, well, I took a step back. And of course, another cause that is just near and dear to my heart is protecting the horses, the horse slaughter issue. And when I first started on that campaign, I soon learned that to get people engaged in wanting to help, I had to reconnect them to the spirit of the horse, show the beauty of the horse.
Yeah.
So that's what this film evolved into, was showing the history of the springs, how beautiful they are, how precious this water is flowing from this desert, and then keep it simple, just show the beauty and the grace of the water and engage people into wanting to learn what's happening, what they can do to help protect these springs. So that was the process, and it's ongoing. You know, I'm going to continue. Shattering Sacred Ground really has evolved into a series, and there will be more.
Well, I'm excited. That's wonderful. Well, you know, the water is sacred. It's our first medicine when we're inside our mother. So it's definitely a sacred energy. Yes. So I'm going to ask Garth. I want to say Garth, and I know your name's not Garth.
It's okay. It's Gareth.
Gareth. Gareth, how did you get involved with Neta?
So it's kind of a funny story, but we actually first met when I was 14 years old, and then we just kind of connected because she found some of my music online and wanted to use it for a film project that she was working on. And ever since then, we just kind of, a couple years went by and we weren't really in touch a whole lot. And then we just kind of started communicating again when Neta was working more with the memorial fence that she has for the horses that are sent down to Mexico for slaughter. And when she started talking about that, I just got, something just hit me that I needed to get more involved. And Neta and I, since then, have become close friends and worked on so many projects together, and we've done stuff in Tennessee where I'm from, and I've gone out to Texas with her, and just being able to share our stories and to share our gifts to try and help tell the stories that we're passionate about has been a huge blessing.
How old are you now?
I'm
16?
22 now.
What?
22 now.
Oh, my son is 26. Yeah, you. Wow. And so originally you're a musician then?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's your website so people that are listening can tune into hear you?
Definitely. Yeah. So my website with my music on it is garethmusic.com. So GARETH music.com. And it's really an awesome opportunity working with Neta. She and I have worked together for years now. And what I love about her films is no matter what the subject matter is, you can always tell what she feels when she puts it together. And that's a real gift for directors, is just being able to put people in such a place that you understand not only what they're passionate about, but why they're passionate about it. And being able to be the composer on many of her films and using the music that I have, especially native music, to just try and help people understand what the real reason is behind the stories.
I'm going to go off topic, but do you know who Dr. John is?
That name sounds familiar.
Dr. John and the Night Trippers. Nina, do you remember him?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you look like Dr. John right now in this Zoom conversation right here. And his energy's been floating around for a couple of days and now it just zeroed in. So he's here with us. Yeah. Okay, so Neta, you are so passionate about our sacred animals, the Horse Nation, and the energy and the healing energy that the Horse Nation. Now, for everyone out there, Neta has been involved with the festival, you know, throughout the years, and her films have screened, her other films, her horse films have screened here. And so can you share about those films, because those films are really important too, and I want to acknowledge your work.
Thank you. Where we live, and it's so difficult. I really, when this journey first began, when I first started seeing the horses go through here, and I thought, why do I have to see this? It just breaks my heart each and every time to see a trailer full of horses going to slaughter, because I know where they're going. I know what's going to happen. And it was so difficult and still difficult. It never gets any easier to witness that. So one day a trailer was going through here and there was a paint inside the trailer, and I was standing beside the road and our eyes locked. I could see them. There were slats in the side of the trailer. And I thought, how wonderful would it be if, rather than going to Presidio to cross the border into Mexico and go to slaughter, they were free and running wild. So I just imagined Thundering Hooves, and that's when Thundering Hooves was born. And as it began, it's so difficult to talk about these subjects. Horse slaughter is a difficult subject. Mm-hmm. So one time there was a trailer going by, and I thought, you know, this is their last ride. They're going to Presidio. They're going to have a Mexico transport truck come up and load them up and haul them across the border. So that was the birth of their last ride. And another thing, our property runs for a mile along the highway that the horses are hauled down. So I thought, well, we'll put up a memorial. I wanted them to know that when they passed by my ranch, I wanted them to feel our love for them. So, and that we care. We're here and we care. I wanted them to know that. So we put up this memorial, and I called it a memorial fence. It's called the Memorial Fence. It's now, so many people stop by there. It's like a roadside park area. It's just beautiful how it has evolved. but I have information there. This is dedicated to the slaughter-bound horses, burros, and mules. People don't realize they're also slaughtered. And I just have the important information, but this is a beautiful memorial, so it draws people to it. And then when they pull up and stop, then they learn.
Right.
And a local cowboy donated a saddle to the memorial fence that was used and helped all the local kiddos learn to ride and rope. And it was pretty worn out. It had been neglected for years and years, and he donated it to the fence. Well, a friend of mine, Jennifer Thomas in Pine Knot, Kentucky, saw it and said she wanted to restore the saddle. So I shipped it to her. It's like shipping off a piece of my heart, right? But Jennifer worked on the saddle and she restored half of it. And she sent me a picture and we both decided this is a beautiful story. This saddle was sent to the fence to be a voice for the slaughter-bound horses. So it's half restored and half of it in its original worn out state, which has the message.
Wow.
The majority of the horses going to slaughter that look like this half of the saddle, if given a chance, repurposed, that just make an effort to help them, then they too can look like this side of the saddle. So that's the Saddle of Hope, which is another film. I have a little short, Managing Wild Horses to Extinction, which is how a story of the BLM is rounding up our wild horses, and now they're putting them in the position to go to slaughter. It's just a vicious circle that the horses on these public lands belong to you and me. They're our horses.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad what's happening. But film has provided me a platform to reach people around the world with the message. We've got to do something. We have to help the horses. We have to protect the water. I went to a Railroad Commission hearing in Austin, and I have to go. When I go to these hearings, I walk into this, it's a pre-hearing conference. It's a legal setting. And I'm going up against these high-power attorneys that these oil corporations hire. And of course, they try to give me a hard time, and sometimes they do a pretty good job of it. But at one hearing, I was so aggravated. Why am I the bad guy? I'm here trying to protect the water. And I said, there's not a person in this room that can exist without water. Why do we have to fight to do the right thing? And it's difficult, but I'm just an old hard-headed Cherokee, and they haven't stopped me yet.
Exactly. Well, I just appreciate you so much. And I know that, for filmmakers that are listening out there, emerging filmmakers, or our audience that maybe are thinking about becoming documentary filmmakers, is there something that this question goes to both of you, that you'd like to share to the audience?
What I've learned when I began this journey, was not a filmmaker, but I knew the stories needed to be told. And if you're passionate about it, I tell my 13-year-old grandson helped me make a little short the other day. I don't know how to act, and I don't know what to say or do. I said, just be yourself. You're passionate. We were over at the memorial fence, and he's helped me build it, so he knows what it's about. Yeah. And I said, just be passionate. Just talk from your heart. Yeah. My advice would be just to follow your heart. When we do what's right, then you can't go wrong. We have to get over the fear of, oh, well, the shot's not going to be perfect, or the sound's going to be a little off, the music's not going to be perfect. We can't worry about all that. We just have to get in there and put it together, and it will come together. If you're doing the right thing, it will come together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I definitely agree with Nita. I think it's funny because we're very similar when we work together with a lot of things. I was going to say as well, don't worry about the quality at first. Worry about putting your heart out there first, and everything else will follow suit. I know people make the mistake of thinking that they've got to make a documentary look exactly like something they see on History Channel right away, or it's not going to stack up, right? But the important thing is to just start. It doesn't matter where you are, because you're not going to grow unless you plant the seeds. So you just got to water it with your effort and your sweat, and just put that sweat equity into it and see what happens.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, is there, Nita, is there anything you'd like our audience to know about this current film, Shattering?
What I would like people to take away from this is we hear water is life. Water is life. And we don't have to shatter sacred ground to sustain life. You know, there's other alternatives out there to fossil fuel. We have to have a serious conversation with what can we do to protect the water, because without freshwater sources, this planet's no longer, we will not exist anymore. And I guess one thing that really touched me when making this film, I had a Thundering Hooves Earth Day celebration here in Toyaville, and Larry Yazzie came down to dance and pray. We went out to the lake, and on the shores of the lake was a fracking rig, had huge flare pits, and we were on the other side of the lake. Well, Larry, we had a prayer, a blessing ceremony at the lake. We invited the community, and I was really surprised. A lot of the community showed up, which is encouraging to me. So we had this prayer ceremony on the shores of the lake, and in less than 2 weeks, that rig was gone. It had picked up and left.
Wow.
To me, you and I know why.
Yes.
But I want people to understand the power we have, the power of prayer, the power of taking our energies and putting that good energy out there and letting it flow and do its job to protect the earth, protect the water, protect us for our future generations. That's my job. My job is to protect this water for the next 7 generations. And I take that job very seriously.
Yes, you do. And being from one life giver to another, that is a true mission as a woman, right? The sacred water.
Right.
We're all born in that sacred water. We all come from that sacred water. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been so informative, and I feel very blessed, really, to experience both of you today in sharing Shattering Sacred Ground. And everyone that's listening, I encourage you to go to rednationff.com and watch this film, Shattering Sacred Ground, with our director, Neta. And, you know, the one thing about Red Nation filmmakers is they're all so extraordinary, and their vision is all so different. And so I love our filmmakers, and I wish that we were in person so we can hug, and, you know, I can introduce you to other people, and, you know, but we'll get through this pandemic together. And we made the festival happen. So I know that the power of prayer, we'll see each other in August at Indian Market.
Thank you. I'm so honored.
Yeah, we appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So everyone out there, thank you for joining us today. And we encourage you to go to rednationff.com and see Shattering Sacred Ground and all the other 105 films. And because this is the last week, we encourage you to binge watch from the Native perspective, and you know, you might learn a thing or two. You just never know. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Kisses.
See you in 2021.
Absolutely.